Oh, okay, we are recording
We're
here.
recording.
Okay, so yeah, this is a very impromptu. So I'll let you speak. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, Mark, Bob, and Pete, right? I'm Dave Gaunt. You just met my mother-in-law, Nan, who 2 months ago was a totally different person. She was in a nursing home facility where she was managed with medication. The last time we visited her there, her room, very small, shades were still closed. Nobody bothered to open them because it didn't make a difference to them, nor did it make a difference to her. She was on tremendous amounts of medication because that's how they basically are or were best able to manage her behaviors. The person you see today is not the same person that was 2 months ago.
What was her primary issue?
Alzheimer's is her is basically what she's been struggling with for the past 5 years. And we're beginning to see, as we have made the changes to this facility and to the raw food diet that she's on, and fortunately with great deals of support from our community of raw foodists here, we're beginning to see a transformation in Nan that is really quite remarkable. I will tell you guys, I was a skeptic. My father-in-law was a skeptic. I guess that's my nature. I like to research, and we did a lot of reading about this, Sandy in particular, and I finally said, you know, we need to try it because we don't want to have any regrets. And I am so glad that we did. Not doing this program, we always would have wondered, would it have made a difference? Could we have seen the kind of growth that we've seen in Nan? And we don't know where it's going to go, but I will tell you that if it doesn't go any further than it is right now, her quality of life has tremendously improved over what it was just 2 months ago. You saw her walk down the hall. She was no longer walking. The time she was walking previous to that was only with a walker, and it was more of a shuffle. And this has all happened in the course of just a little over a month now, being on the raw food diet. So I will tell you that I'm a believer in the changes that are being made. I'm also a believer that if we continue to have residents who come to facilities like this and engage in this kind of an activity, that the staff here is going to see that and begin to realize we're onto something. I would love to see Virginia come and be a part of this, along with Nan, so that we can begin to impact the way that healthcare is provided to the elderly. Not just for them, but for us too, because it won't be that long, but we're in that position. And I joke with my kids about it even now. And I said, I'm so glad you're seeing this, because you can make sure that I have this kind of care when I reach that point. So it's certainly something to think about. We'd love to see Virginia come and join us here and be a part of what I think is a transformational movement. The staff here will tell you, they thought it was a little crazy when Sandy first began doing this. And we begin to bring the raw food group here as we met today. They don't think we're crazy anymore because they have seen the changes and they've seen the improvement. And that's just one step toward really making a difference in transforming the way care is provided to our elderly population. So I hope you can be a part of that.
I got one question I think that they would probably want to ask is
Sure.
in that Virginia can be testy and sometimes has a strong will, and if she wants to fight something, she'll fight it. How is Nan in terms of her transition? And
That's been pretty remarkable. The reason that she was on so much medication at her last facility was because she was testy and she basically was uncooperative. And she ended up going to the hospital, and when she came, because she basically had a meltdown on a particular day when they wanted her to do something that she didn't want to do. I think a lot of that was driven out of not being treated in a humane way anymore. She wasn't able to articulate that, but she did in her behavior. She went running down the hall and screaming, and she was actually taken down by some of the staff, restrained, taken to the hospital. When she came back from the hospital, she was on medication to where that would no longer be an issue. And the medication over a period of time just continued to increase to the point where she was no longer a sentient individual in that facility. Laid on her back on her bed, wasn't able to rouse her, and as I said, living in a dark cave-like existence. So this is transformational. So I would say, I don't know Virginia, but I think if people are treated with dignity and respect, that they respond in favorable ways, and we certainly see that in Nan's case.
So what is your background?
My background? I'm a retired educator. I was involved in public education for 30 years. Bachelor's degree, a couple of master's degree, and a PhD. I'm currently a college professor teaching online courses, as well as an adjunct professor for Western Michigan University. And I run a private counseling practice as well. So retirement's great.
So do you see any other implications out there in terms of the little experiment with Nan going on here?
I sure hope so, Paul. As I said, I am convinced that the staff here have become more than just interested now. I guess I would stop short of calling them believers because I don't want to speak for them. But they have noticed differences. And they don't think that we're crazy anymore. To me, that's the first step in affecting positive change for the future. And the more people we can get that join us in this, the more I think it will have a lasting effect well into the future. And as I said, to the point where I hope someday to have a facility that I can go to where these things are already in place and we don't have to fight to make them happen.
Okay, well thanks, and say hi to Virginia too.
Okay, Virginia, we'd love to see you here. I'd like to meet you.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
I'll call you later.
And we'll have a horticulture program here.
Yeah, that one's done.
Where one of the
Stick your
local
finger in the glue.
florists donates
Yeah,
all
but
of
you gotta put some
the,
glue.
I guess, leftover flowers.
She
And
needs
they
a
bring them
packet
in,
that's right
and the
there.
residents get to do arrangements. So that's why you'll see arrangements around here.
Okay. Now, here's